Have you ever heard someone play the piano so fast, so effortlessly, that it feels like three people are performing at once? Now imagine this. The pianist you're listening to can barely see. This is the story of Art Tatum, the man who defied blindness, broke every musical rule, and changed jazz forever. A genius so far ahead of his time that even legends like Oscar Peterson and Charlie Parker stood in awe. But behind the brilliance was something more, a quiet battle against the limits the world tried to put on him. Art Tatum was born on October 13, 1909, in Toledo, Ohio, a time when jazz was still young, raw, and wild. He came into the world with severely limited vision, the result of cataracts that would leave him almost completely blind by his teenage years. Most people would have expected a boy like that to fade into the background, but Art? He found light in sound. There was a piano in his family's home, and from the moment his fingers touched the keys, something inside him clicked. He listened to radio broadcasts, memorized complex pieces after a single hearing, and played them back note for note, sometimes even better. His mother would come home and find the neighbors standing outside, listening through the open window. A little boy, barely tall enough to reach the keyboard, playing like a master. When Art attended the Toledo School for the Blind, he didn't just learn, he absorbed. He studied classical music, honed his sense of harmony, and began blending structure with improvisation. But his secret weapon? The radio. Night after night, young Art would sit close to the speaker, listening to piano solos of the greats of the day, Fats Waller, James P. Johnson, Earl Hines, and then he'd play them back instantly, adding his own twist. It wasn't imitation. It was transformation. Later, when Fats Waller himself heard Tatum play, he reportedly said to the audience, "I just play the piano, but God is in the house tonight." That line became part of jazz legend. By the time Tatum hit his 20s, word was spreading. There was a man in Ohio who could make a piano sound like an orchestra. When he first arrived in New York City, the jazz capital of the world, fellow musicians thought it was some kind of trick. How can one man play all that, they asked. At his debut performance, jaws literally dropped. He played pieces with such speed and harmonic complexity that other pianists began laughing in disbelief, not because it was funny, but because it was impossible. And yet there he was, sitting calmly, almost expressionless, his fingers gliding like silk over the keys. Even Vladimir Horowitz, the great classical pianist, once admitted, "If Art Tatum ever took up classical music seriously, I'd quit my job tomorrow." But here's the part we often forget about genius. It's rarely comfortable. Tatum faced prejudice, isolation, and the constant weight of expectation. Being a black musician in 1930s America was already difficult. Being blind added another layer of struggle. Traveling between shows wasn't easy. He often had to rely on others to guide him on and off stage. Yet every night, as soon as he sat at that piano, all limitations disappeared. He didn't see. He heard the world. He painted it in sound. What made Art Tatum's playing so unique? For starters, he used chord substitutions and reharmonizations that no one had ever attempted before. He layered melodies over complex bass lines, creating a sound so full it redefined what solo piano could mean. His right hand could improvise faster than most people could think. His left hand danced between bass and rhythm, never missing a beat. And together they built worlds, spontaneous, electrifying worlds that vanished as soon as they were born. Musicians tried to copy him, but most gave up. You can't imitate lightning. Despite his towering talent, Art Tatum was not a celebrity in the way we imagine stars today. He didn't seek fame. He didn't chase headlines. He played. That was all. In smoky bars, in jazz clubs, on late-night radio shows, Tatum's music spoke for him. Those who understood listened. Those who didn't couldn't keep up. Jazz historian Leonard Feather once said, "Art Tatum could make a piano do things it wasn't built to do. He made it sing, shout, whisper, and roar, sometimes all in one song." By the mid-1950s, Tatum's health began to fail. Years of constant touring, long nights, and little rest took their toll. He passed away in 1956, at just 47 years old, far too soon.
But his influence never died. Pianists like Oscar Peterson, Herbie Hancock, and Chick Corea all cite Tatum as a guiding light. Even beyond jazz, his fingerprints are everywhere, in classical phrasing, in modern improvisation, and in every musician who dares to push a boundary. So what makes Art Tatum's story so powerful? It's not just the music, it's the mindset. He didn't let blindness define him. He didn't let convention limit him. He simply asked one question again and again. What else can I do with this piano? And that's the question every creator, artist, and dreamer should ask. Not what can't I do, but what's possible if I refuse to see the limits? Art Tatum never needed sight to see beauty. He heard it, shaped it, and gave it to the world, one breathtaking note at a time.